Look, look, I'm gonna show you.
Thundaground.
How you feeling, Bahamadia?
Maintain. Maintain.
So what are we doing over here?
Well, we're waiting for our flight. We're about to go to South Africa, tear down over there.
Yeah, South Africa?
Do some rhyming, do some teaching, do some learning, all that.
So when I tell people that I'm gonna interview Bahamadia, the legendary, they're like, yo, Bahamadia's still rapping? What has she been up to? Let them know out there what you've been up to.
Well, Bahamadia been globetrotting since 1994, really, you know what I mean? And just basically started my own label, B-Girl Freedom Records, you know what I'm saying? Working on a few projects, the Real Rap DVD and CD series. And, you know, trying to lock down distribution finally for my label and all that stuff. Good rap music. Nigga, check me out on the MySpace network as well.
It all started with Total Wreck, right? Was that the first song?
No, the first song was officially Funk Vibe. I had a single out in 93. It was a regional success here in Philly and in the tri-state area. Produced by DJ Rand from the Technician DJs. What's up, Rand?
Word.
And that caught on regionally. And then I linked up with Guru through a mutual friend from a mixtape.
That's Guru from Gangstar.
Guru from Gangstar, right. And he offered me a production situation with his Ill Kid imprint at the time. And that led to Total Wreck, which he produced. And then that led to Collage in 1996. And then that spawned to Bahamadia being who she is in the game right now. Just, you know, taking that opportunity and making it my own, basically.
For those that didn't get Collage, y'all missed out, and it's not too late. Go get that Collage. That was Bahamadia's debut album right there.
Well, Real Rap, that's out of print right now, and it's actually a collector's item. So if you do get a copy, hold on to one for me too, especially if it's vinyl. Especially if it's vinyl. Original press.
Original pressing, not the repress.
Yeah. The repress is cool though for collectors though, you know what I mean, fans.
Yeah.
But if you're a serious collector, then you're gonna know what time it is and go get the original pressing if you can find it.
How important is it for an artist to own their masters?
I feel like it's important for artists to have a strong knowledge of whatever field of interest that they choose to get in professionally. You know what I mean? But to answer your question, I feel like it's very important because it's your work. It's your life's work, and so you should own as much of it as you can. Like, this is the only industry, the business of music is the only industry where the practitioner puts in the time and effort into selling themselves and their ideas and thoughts in their direction and market themselves and not own it at the end of the day. Like, if you buy a home, you own the home. If you buy a car, you own the car.
Yep.
You know what I mean? But if you pay for studio time and you put your life's work down on tape, you know what I mean, or Pro Tool files these days, session files, and then you turn it into a label, you don't own it at the end of the day. Like, why is that? Like, that needs to change. Like, who set that standard? Like, you know what I mean?
Definitely understand.
Yeah, so that's where I'm at with me. I'm a serious entrepreneur in that sense.
How was it like growing up in Philly?
You know, it was cool. It's like, you know, it's a real diverse town. It's a big city with a rural feel to it, meaning it's feel very homey, you know what I mean, and very community oriented all around, you know what I mean. It was cool. It's a real soulful town historically for our music scene and all of that. So that was good coming up. And then I came up in the throwback era where, you know, we hadn't had that niche programming on radio and stuff like that yet. So it was very diverse in terms, sonically, in terms of music being played in the media outlets and stuff on TV. You know, the Soul Train era, the American Bandstand era, and then the radio was really more programmed like how community and college radio was programmed today. You know what I mean? So I feel like I was blessed to be coming up in that era where I was exposed to many diverse styles of music, you know, Earth, Wind and Fire to Roberta Flack, to the Doobie Brothers, you know what I mean, on and on, you know what I mean, right on up until Africa Bambaataa and all those earlier times.
That's perfect. You just answered my next question.
Music, you know, you know what I mean, so that was fortunate for me in that way, you know, to come up in that era.
What motivates you these days?
Well, you know, and I get my inspiration from God, you know what I mean, the people that he chooses to move through. And just life experiences, you know what I mean, whatever they entail at the time, you know, it was good, perceived as being good, bad, indifferent, or whatever, adversities, I embrace it all or whatever, because I feel like God can get glory out of that situation at the end of the day once the information is processed, you know?
Some people try to, like, categorize you in different cliques. Like, they see you with the Gangstar Foundation, they see you with the Roots and everything, but, I mean, how was it like working with Gangstar? How was it like working with the Roots?
Actually, I never have been really officially associated with any clique. You know what I mean? I have had, I don't want to say associated. I mean, I have never been officially a part of any clique. You know what I mean? For the record, there's been very loose associations, and then there have been strong ties and simulations. Like with the Roots, for instance, we're from the same hometown.
Yeah.
And when we first came out, we came out around the same time. You know what I mean? Some of the market that we were, the demographic that we were catering to at the time was kind of like the same markets with the Fugees and, you know, Tribe Called Quest and all the people that would lay the foundation before we even came into the game. You know what I mean? So in that aspect, you know, sometimes we would get booked and toured the same. We did remixes together, all that kind of stuff. It was work, you know what I mean? It's an honor to be able to share and come together, you know, creatively with any artist, and y'all make some great music. So that's what I stood at with that. You know what I mean? As far as the Gangstar, it was an opportunity that, you know, I chose to seize at the time. You know what I mean? Nothing indifferent. Wasn't nothing bad out of the opportunity that ever really happened, because I learned in the process. Like, Google gave me an opportunity that I don't believe I would have gotten from anybody else at that time period. You know what I mean? And I'll always be grateful to him for that, you know what I'm saying? But in terms of working with them, it was great, you know what I mean? They was always respected. I'm speaking of Gangstar now. They were always respected contributors of traditional hip-hop music and the culture. And I, you know, felt honored to have been noticed by such a talent, you know what I mean, like Guru and especially Premier, you know what I mean, with his legend, you know, his status and all of that as a legendary producer and all that, you know. So it was real cool.
Yeah, that song Total Wreck. Who did those scratches?
I don't know who did the scratches on there. There was an in-house DJ that Guru was working with at the time. As I told you, he had his own production company, so he had his own separate situation from what the Gangstar Foundation was.
For some reason, I just thought Guru did those scratches. I don't know why.
No, I don't know. If I had it my way, I would have had DJ Cash Money do the cut.
Yeah.
Right.
Cash Money.
I didn't even know that song was going to be a single, though, to let you in on a little underground, like, Fact or whatever. I didn't even know there was gonna be a single.
Oh, Total Rap?
Yeah, you know how like you do a series of songs. That was the first song Google and I did together, and I thought it was gonna be a volume of songs that we did. Then you pick the best joints. No, even for collage, like every song that I did, it wasn't no other songs. That's why during that time period up until now, it's no surplus Bahamadia material, because whatever I record, that went on the project.
Wow.
Like I never had the option or the luxury of having a team of people say, sit down and we want to record like 40 songs and pick the best 12 out. I never had that luxury.
Do you feel that's best?
Yeah, I definitely feel that's best or whatever. I mean, you know, you given the opportunity, like I said again, it was an opportunity a lot of people wish that they had, so I wasn't going to rock the boat at the time. You know what I mean? I'm going to make the situation work. Coming from humble beginnings is the opportunity that I had.
You had a a radio show, and that was going on for a while.
Yeah, that went on for like 2 years. Bahamadia B-sides and point at the time. Program that showed myself and everything like that. Broke a lot of legendary artists today. So many I can't even really name. And then again, that was an opportunity that presented itself that I took advantage of. And that was the last piece of my learning that experience that I had encountered and learning the music, the business of music. Like before I got into commercial radio, I didn't know nothing about niche programming, and it was playlists and that they can't play break records on commercial radio and all of that outside. And this was back when mix shows was out. It ain't even no such thing as a mix show now. Like, you know what I mean? That's how antiquated that mindset and that approach to doing business is as far as music. You know what I mean? So, but when I was in that system, I learned, I'm like, man, this is probably a lot of reasons why my records back in the day probably suffered, mine and a lot of other people. But I didn't get bitter, I just got smart about it. Like, okay, well, let me see how I can fit in, what lane I can fit in with the music, that I'm willing to still do music from my heart and my perspective, and I'm not willing to compromise my message or method of making my music. So with that in mind, I knew that the commercial outlet wasn't going to necessarily be, you know, that welcome into my type of style of music. So I ain't gonna hate on the commercial aspect, because that's what you want to do, if that's what you want to do. But for me, the grassroots oriented level was best for me in the style that I do. You know what I mean? And I was able to be a proven commodity, and that now it's come back full circle, because now people want something real and something of substance and something that's, as long as you're growing and evolving with the times and you're able to translate your experience that's digestible to people currently, you can win right now. You know what I mean? So that's where I'm at.
That's a heavy jewel right there. What about the voices of the single moms, the voices of the kids?
I was saying like, you know, just how people deem urban music today, or they think like just because the only thing that will be selling is something that's from the hood or street music per se, right? But I was saying earlier, like it's different voices in the hood. Like you do have people that you do have the crime element in the hood, you know what I mean? But then when you have it impoverished, wherever you have poverty at, you're gonna have that. Wherever you have low education at, you're gonna have that. You know what I mean? But it's many diverse voices in the hood. It's like the single mom, you know, I'm a single mom. Static is single father. He from the hood. You know what I mean? But according to what your upbringing was and what you've been exposed to and what you choose, what you deem important to want to find out to better yourself is what makes the difference in the individual, you know what I mean? And I feel like that's a myth that should be dispelled, that just because you're from the hood, you got to talk about crack and sex and all that all the time. Because that's not a reality for me. And I come from a very impoverished background. That's not reality. And got dirt on me too. But I don't exploit that part of myself because I don't deem it necessary to get attention, you know what I mean? But that's me though. That's me growing and evolving and accepting who I am and being exposed to other ways of thinking to broaden my mind to be a better me. You know what I mean? Because people that know better do better.
All right, how do you feel about hip-hop presently, you know, not having as many females as visible as before?
Well, I mean, see, visibility is the key word right there. It's like we're not as visible on the mainstream, but we are visible in the culture overall and in the industry overall. I mean, you can do a Google search and click put the word female artist or female MC in there or hip hop artist in there, and it's going to be a slew of artists that come up. You know what I mean? And these people have existed for a long time, as well as the Bahamadia, you know what I mean, and whoever else is out there in the trenches these days. You know what I mean? I feel like it's not just the absence of the female voice in hip hop that's not present or not being promoted consistently. I think overall artists of substance and quality has been missing for a long time. It's bigger than just the genre of gender. It's bigger than gender at that point. Because I mean, I'm a woman naturally. You know that when I show up, I don't focus on my gender. I don't focus on that as an artist. I focus on my individuality more than that. You know, my experiences of what I want to bring to the table. I think necessary to bring to the table through a musical platform at that time. You know. I like to see a stronger, genuine camaraderie between women overall, though. But that's behind the scenes and in front of the camera, though. You know.
What do you think are the females' role in hip hop's past, present, and future?
I feel like that. I mean, and me personally, I can't speak for all women. I don't just speak for me because I'm an individual. I feel like me personally, what I bring to the table as an artist is my own unique experience. It's like my background, what I've experienced through life challenges and adversities and the process of growing and becoming a full-blown woman in the industry. I feel like me as a mother, you know what I mean? Me as an entrepreneur, all those things are important enough for me to set to music, those thoughts. You know what I mean? So that's what I know I bring to the game. In terms of women's our presence, though, I do feel that we bring a balance, definitely. You know what I mean? I feel like because it's a male-dominated, or it's perceived as being a male-dominated industry, I feel like with more women visibly active in it, or promoted as being visibly active in the industry, I think that would bring a more well-rounded culture in terms of business, in terms of music, and everything like that too.
Do you feel there is unity amongst rappers?
Do I feel like there's unity amongst rappers? I mean, we're in the industry, we're business people. So, I mean, the unity is going to be the extent of whatever your business interests happen to be. You know what I mean? You should never misconstrue that you're a commodity in the industry. That's like saying you think that everybody that you meet in the industry are genuinely your friends in the industry. No, because we're commodities and we're business people. And so any relationship that you develop within the scope of the music, business of music, or you know the industry overall, be it video, be it whatever form or area of music or area of business in the industry, is to be taken with a grain of salt, because it's only to be looked at as an opportunity to advance, you know what I mean? But it's just about how you maneuver that situation and maximize it is what counts. Yo, what up? It's Bahamadia and DJ Static, you know what I'm saying? I'm chilling with the Thundaground, the boy DJ Emmo. Philly stand up. Hello.
How you doing? We over here chilling with Zenobia Simmons, PR specialist extraordinaire. What would you call your title? There's so many names for it.
Well, I'm a director. My title is Director of Publicity at Imperial Records.
All right. Imperial Records.
Uh-huh.
Tell us a little about Imperial real quick.
Well, Imperial Records is a division of EMI, and we are the independent distribution arm of the company.
But it's major distribution, basically.
Right. Well, because EMI. We distribute via EMI.
We go way back. You've been around for a minute.
Yeah, I have.
As a publicist, PR specialist.
Yeah, Imperial Records has been around for, they've actually been around for a very long time. But they've just, you know, they're the new stuff that we've done, like the new, the new things that we've done. When we relaunched, we've been out for a year.
All right. But as far as Zenobia Simmons, you've been doing this, you've been a publicist for how long?
at least 15 years or more.
So, what college did you go to?
I went to a couple of different ones. The last one I went to, that was University of Maryland.
All right. So that shows that, you know, if you're in college, it doesn't matter if you know, going from college to college, as long as you get out of there and you know what you want to do.
That's true.
All right. So, from being around for a while, 15 years, seeing all these magazines come and go, what changed from back then to now? I mean, what's the vibe like that's different from back then?
With the magazines?
Just period, just the whole
The industry,
Yeah.
everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's really different. It's way more. It's a lot more money involved now. It's a lot more professional, but then it's also a little more stifling. I would say there's not nearly as much as creativity. Things are way higher end now, but there's only a handful. It's about 2 or 3 right now.
And some of the record labels that you done PR work for. I mean, I knew you when you was at Penalty. Was that the first spot?
No.
All right.
No. My first record label PR job, because I had done indie. I started out doing indie PR, but my first job was probably Street Knowledge. When I worked at Street Knowledge. Then I worked at Correct Records. No, I was at Street Knowledge, then I went to Priority, then Correct, and then Penalty.
How important is it for a professional and or an artist to be involved in the independent side of things?
It's very important. You need to, I feel, to be a well-rounded artist, you need to be involved in everything. You got to know what's going on.
That's right.
So yeah, you need to be involved in all aspects of it.
All right, now the whole subject as far as where the ladies at. I mean, what do you think about that? Just that question, that theme in itself. Like, where the ladies at to you?
Question. I think women are almost more prominent now than they were when I started out. In terms of women being in executive positions. But I think there's more women behind the scenes than artists. That's a big difference. Because like before, when I started, there were so many groups. There are a lot more groups too. That's another different thing. Like I think hip hop has gone through a number of phases. Number one, it started out where everybody was a rapper. Then it started out everybody was a producer. Then everybody had an independent label, and now that's kind of where we are now. And then somewhere in there everybody was a DJ. So through all those different phases and the way that the business has changed and people have been involved in the business, that's why I think there's not as many female artists now. But I do think there's a lot more women promoters, publicists, even label owners.
All right, what do you think are females' role in hip-hop's past, present, and future?
Women are, the earth mothers. We're the creators. We're the inspiration for everything in the world. So, we're essential because every MC, producer, dancer, b-boy had a mother. So we're responsible for all of that, for all those individuals, for them even existing. They couldn't exist without us, without women. So that's how I think we are relevant, to the past, present, and the future. But if you look at it in terms of just, I would say a historical example, Sugar Hill Records was started by a woman. So, women have always been involved. And then there were always female MCs in the beginning. And some of the first records to cross over and be big commercial records featured female MCs. You can look back to even the Roxanne. Those disc records, those were women. And they were regarding women. So that's how I think we're crucial for the past. Then in terms of the present, as I was saying before, women are really involved in all aspects of the culture. Women started out as pioneers in the business, but now I think women are responsible for creating the progressions in rap music. Just even in terms of MCs saying, oh, we got to make a girl song. Like they're making those for women. So again, that we're responsible for the inspiration.
That's right.
And I don't consider them rappers or even consider them MCs, but I do think they use a lot of hip hop elements. The artists that are on the top of the charts right now, the pop artists like Fergie, Gwen Stefani, even Nelly Furtado, they're rapping. There, or what some people would consider rapping. But that's all hip-hop influenced and inspired.
That's right.
So, you know, we're definitely responsible. And also for rap music changing with the dances, you know, like how there's, you know, Soulja Boy and this and that. That's the girls.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they make songs like that for girls.
That's right.
Even though guys do them in the video, they're for girls. Those are considered girl records. And women are always usually most the dancers now. So I think we're definitely responsible for what's going on now. And then for the future, I think that women are going to be the ones that are going to bring it back. Because some of the MCs that I like, you know, right now or lately are women. Like, you know, I like Apani. I like Jean Grey stuff.
Do you feel there's unity amongst hip-hop rappers?
Female rappers or just rappers in general?
Rappers in general, then we're going to
No.
talk about the females.
No, not at all. I think they come together when they make records. You know, when they're going to make records, but no, definitely not. I think there's too much jealousy.
Where are their voices? Is it being silenced, and why?
I think that women's voices in hip-hop are definitely not silenced. Because that's what I mean. If you listen to the radio, you know, like I said, you can't turn around without hearing somebody rapping. A woman trying to rap. You can't. I just think it's harder to hear a broad sampling of different kind of female MCs. Right now, all you hear on the radio and in popular music are the pop, you know, rappers, the female MCs that are doing pop music. I think it's harder to, if you wanted to find women that were doing different types of music, like underground music, it's a lot harder to find them. And I do think it's because there's a lot less of them. You know, before there were a lot of female women, a lot of female crews. Now, that's you know, not as common. You really don't find a lot of that. So I definitely think it's a struggle.
What do you think about how male rappers are addressing women in their lyrics?
I'm a lot more into lyrics. So that's what I look for. So you know, so it's a little harder for me to hear, you know, that kind of stuff. We used to call it like that ABC, the Cat in the Hat type. I'm just not a fan of that. I really do not like that at all. But I think that, you know, it has to exist though. I think in order for there to be, let's just call it for the sake of argument, for there to be underground music and underground hip-hop, there has to be commercial. Because if everything was all the same, then people wouldn't create an alternative.
That's right.
You know, and so it just would be one thing. And I don't want to hear all of any one thing. I don't want that. I want to hear variety. So that's why, you know, I think it exists. But I also think it's great, too, to just show how far and how much of an influence hip-hop culture and rap music has had on today, on contemporary culture. Because, you know, when you see, like, the McDonald's commercials and they have people rapping in the McDonald's commercials, there's even the credit.com commercial, dude is playing the guitar. He's a white guy, he's playing the guitar, he's real twangy.
It's everywhere.
And he's rapping and saying, you know, my posse's getting this. And like, you know, it's just really funny because now it's not really counterculture anymore. Now it's just pop culture. So in terms of what it's done to elevate rap music, and I mean, this is my job, you know, it's what I do for a living. So I think that's great, and I'm very happy that I have a job, you know. Then in terms of how it affects women being treated in hip-hop, I think what rap music started out as was a reflection of what was going on in the culture. So that's reflecting how society in general is treated, you know, how women are being treated right now. So, you know, for example, back in, I'd say the mid, maybe early 90s, everything, there were some exceptions, you know, like Two Live Crew and Luke Skywalker or whatever, but the majority of records were, you know, talking about black women and, you know, that treating us like queens, and not only black women but just all women, period. That was popular. So I think that now you have songs that are so degrading and derogatory because that is a reflection of just how it is in society right now. You know, people have gone, I think so far to the left or to the right to be politically correct that they don't realize how incorrect and how negative their actions are. So I definitely think that's an issue.
That's a strong statement right there.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's true. Because I
agree.
Yeah, and I really think that we're desensitized to violence in general. So when you have songs saying, you know, they're going to do this or do that to a woman, people don't realize how serious that is or how serious that may affect someone.
All right. What about these images of women in hip-hop? Do you think these images affect how you are being treated as a woman in hip-hop?
Yeah, definitely. You know, because that's, I mean, it always affects you. And I think a lot of times people treat women in such a way they don't realize it's disrespectful. You know, it's the same thing with racism. People sometimes are so racist and so prejudiced they don't even realize it or realize that it's offensive. So I think it's a problem, and it affects me. But I also try to always be mindful of that and to carry myself in a way that, you know, no one would dare come at me like that. I mean, you know, sometimes people do, but I try to, you know, let them know immediately how I feel about that and that is not acceptable. This is Zenobia. I'm hanging out with my man DJ Emmo at Thundaground. Peace.